Good afternoon, Packers fans. Aaron Nagler here with your Packers Daily Chat, coming to you live on the Cheesehead TV social channels. Happy Monday. Hope you had a good weekend. I want to warn everyone right out the gate here, I am having some major technical issues with my computer and my mic. So if I go out and everything falls apart, I apologize in advance. Was legit dealing with this right up to about 15 seconds before going live. So again, I apologize if everything falls apart here. We're all aboard the Millennium Falcon at the moment, and Chewie's trying to fix the hyperdrive. I can't promise that he's going to do it. Hello to everybody in the comments section. Good to see everybody mixing it up already. Packers fans worldwide. That's how we roll here. I did want to touch on the offense. Going back and watching a bunch of games over the weekend, I watched, I would say 6 or 7 of the 2023 regular season games. And it was fascinating to watch kind of the progression of these guys when you had the ability to, fast forward to the next week, essentially. And remembering and kind of jolting my memory about some of the growth that we saw throughout the season from guys who ended up obviously having phenomenal years. Jaden Reed is a guy who it was very interesting going back and watching some of the, I guess, missed moments that he had early in the season with Jordan Love, giving him some nice opportunities, and things like the Minnesota game where he dials it up down the seam, and Reed doesn't really fight for the ball and it turns into an interception. Or even week 3, there's a play left corner of the end zone where Jordan Love throws a gorgeous ball and Reed should have had a touchdown, but can't control it through the ground. And things like that where, all of those mistakes and missed opportunities, then you watch kind of in real time again throughout the entirety of the season how there's growth exponentially in his game, not just on finishing plays, but just the route running, setting guys up, the physicality and the run blocking noticeably jumps off the screen. And that's just one guy. I mean, you can do it for almost every one of the skill position players when you go back and watch what they were doing in mid-October and compare it to the level of play you see down in and down out in December. It is striking. And the fact that they've only begun to scratch the surface as far as what they're capable of and their ability to become pros. And we talk a lot about the year 1 to year 2 jump. And I always tell you guys, it's about the player. More often than not, when they make that jump, it is due to a lot of the work that they put in during the offseason. And I know there was a great video going around this weekend, a couple of guys getting after it, which is always good. But I'd like to remind everybody that just because you see a video or don't see a video, it doesn't mean that the guys who aren't putting out social media videos doesn't mean they ain't getting after it. But it is down to that work, that off-season work. And if these guys continue to attack things the way we saw throughout the season, man, the sky is the limit for this offense to really become a problem in the NFL, simply because of all of the disparate skill sets and your kind of ability as a play caller and a game designer for Matt LaFleur, just to really kind of pick apart a defense's weakness and know that you've got a lot of different ways you can hurt people. And you've only really started to kind of see how all of these pieces complement each other. And the fact that they'll hit the ground running in 2024 with both Tucker Kraft and Luke Musgrave having put together the rookie seasons that they did. Now, Matt LaFleur himself admitting that there will undoubtedly be more 2 tight end sets and packages for both of them to be on the field. Man, you start talking about being able to attack defenses in a myriad of ways. I'm excited, man. I'm so excited for the potential on that side of the ball. It is undoubtedly the most excited I've been about, the upcoming 2 or 3 year window than I have been in a long time. It is unbelievably exciting times in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Hello to everybody in the comments section. So good to see y'all. Chuck, how are you? And Stu's here, of course, saying football. Joseph, I'm glad you brought this up. Joseph says, Schneidman stirs up a hornet's nest. Did he do it on purpose, or is Dov Kleinman to blame? If anyone doesn't know what Joseph is referencing, over the weekend, I believe it was on Saturday, Dov and a couple of the other NFL aggregators who just do that. They take other people's news and they make tweets about it to drive engagement to their account. put up a pretty disingenuous tweet regarding a article that Schneidman had wrote where Matt, in his opinion, stated that it was highly unlikely that the Packers would be bringing David Bakhtiari back, and Dov and a few others interpreted that or kind of twisted it to, oh, the Packers are reportedly, it was a report in their eyes, going to be cutting David Bakhtiari. For sure, end of story, move on to the next. Which predictably, I got a lot of tweets about it. And as I pointed out there, and I'll point out here, um, this is why I tell everyone just unfollow every aggregator you've ever followed on Twitter, whether it's Dov or any of the other kind of well known aggregators, and stick with the people who actually cover the team. And there's zero doubt that when Dov or his ilk frame something like that, absolutely 1000% twisting Matt's reporting, which is an opinion piece. He's literally writing his opinion, which is fine. It's his right. Is absolutely what he's paid to do, you know. But it really feels like, I don't know. I got to make some kind of video about media consumption and media literacy, because nowhere in Matt's piece and anywhere, in any way, shape, or form does he construe it as a report. He's not reporting anything. So again, these aggregators then take that and go, oh, look, I can frame this way and get a ton of engagement in my account. And of course, what's your response as a fan or someone who's trying to get the right information? Well, the response should be unfollow and mute them. You don't really need to block them, although if you want to go that far, you can. But I tell you what, my NFL life has become so much better online after unfollowing and muting every aggregator I see. It's that simple. Glad to get that off my chest. Soder, what's going on, man? With Savage gone, every agent with a free agent safety can begin the process of linking them to the Packers. We'll later be told how we just missed out. Yes, Soder referencing the fact that 3 gentlemen today who had possible or did have voids in their contracts are not having those voids picked up, not having those. I'm trying to find the info here. Here we go. It's Savage, Nyman, and Nixon. They will count just under $10 million in dead money on the 2024 salary cap. There were no extensions reached with any of those players, and so they'll be on the books regardless. Now, to Soder's point here, he's most likely gone, but just because they didn't find an agreement or reach an extension doesn't mean that he's not going to be back. He could still re-sign with the team. They've done that before. They did that with Devondre Campbell and Robert Tonyan a couple years ago, where they had voids coming up and they didn't negotiate an extension in time, and they just, basically lived with that dead cap money, but then re-signed both of them to a different deal. So still kicking that can a little bit, still dealing with a few of these, maneuvers, as it were, financially. But all 3 of those guys will be collectively counting just under $10 million in dead cap space in 2024. Aaron Harper says hi. What's up, Aaron Harper? Hi from Aaron Negler. She said, Joey, how you doing, man? Free agent to watch, J.K. Dobbins, running back for the Ravens. A guy who's been hurt a lot, could be a cheap option as a number 2 to Jones if healthy. I loved J.K. before he dealt with those injuries. I would be absolutely shocked if the Packers brought him in like any significant way during free agency this offseason. Now, if he's out there, say after camp, and the Packers are dealing with some injuries and they need a body, then maybe they make that call. And if obviously presuming he's still out there. But I would be absolutely floored if they spent any kind of free agency dollars on him. I would 1,000,000% expect them to draft somebody first, and have that be their plan rather than signing J.K. Dobbins. And again, I loved his game before the injuries, but doesn't quite seemingly have that same burst anymore. Ralph, what's going on, man? Is Hafley's scheme the same as Spagnola's? That's a good question. Similar in the sense that they're both 4-3. I think, gathering from my chat with Cody Alexander a couple weeks ago, it's a little more Halfley's is a little bit more multiple. Um, you talk about having a Rex Ryan blitz package. Um, I think his ability to get in and out of stuff will probably be a little bit more noticeable. But really, the base principle, 4-3 based, it's similar in that regard. But there's a lot of different flavors that Halfley's going to be cooking with as far as throughout his entire kind of history as a coach. He's got a lot to draw from as far as mentors and inspirations. But yeah, I mean, they're like very simplistic, like basic essence as far as like, oh, it's a 4-3 base. It's similar, not the same though. Next, what is Savage, Nyman, and Nixon's contract situation? What does this mean? Brandy, I just discussed that. Abdul, what's going on, man? Hey, Aaron, are there too much defensive ends to be Super Bowl competitors? Too much defensive needs to be Super Bowl competitors? Need 2 safeties, 1 or 2 cornerbacks, 1 or 2 linebackers? No, man. No. What? Too many needs? Too many notes, Your Majesty. No, absolutely not. You can find high-level players all throughout the draft and fill those kind of holes, as it were, pre and post draft and free agency, and off you go. I mean, look at the offensive side of the ball and how they completely turned around after stripping that side of the ball. Obviously, I don't expect them to go quite that extreme as far as a youth movement on defense, but yeah, no, man. They got plenty of ammo in the draft and in free agency to be able to do what they need to do to produce at a high level on defense. And also, by the way, a whole lot of really talented people still remain on the defensive side, So, yeah, no, there are no excuses. They should absolutely be much better on defense and much more talented on defense. Nicholas, what's going on, man? How do you like the idea of bringing back Runyon and moving Jenkins to center, Myers to the bench? Nicholas, I'm not going to take this out on you, but I do find it hilarious that the Packers keep telling us how much they love Josh Myers, and all we do as fans is keep trying to bench Josh Myers. Look, maybe they go about it similar to, what you're suggesting here, but I doubt it. I suspect, they're men of their word. I think they really like Josh, and I think he's going to be your starting center next year. I mean, look, you guys know I've wanted to move Zach Tom into center pretty much all last summer, but again, they keep being rock solid in their kind of confidence vocally, publicly in when it comes to Josh Myers' play. Yeah, and as far as like keeping Runyon, why would you're going to keep Runyon, who's really been inconsistent, so you can move Jenkins to center? I don't understand because you're not strengthening yourself. You're moving Jenkins, which is great, but you've shown and seen you can play at a really high level with Myers at center and Jenkins at guard. Keeping Runyon just to kind of stay status quo, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. Steve, what's going on, man? It was glorious to watch a Vikings fans YouTube channel and them lamenting the fact that Love has been working out with Drew Brees. I saw that picture. Yeah, man, getting after it with Drew. The best part of that, of course, was sending that picture to my Saints fan girlfriend, who absolutely adores Drew Brees. True story. One of the first fights we ever got in, first arguments of our entire relationship, was about Drew Brees. Because, I took a shot and she didn't appreciate it. So I sent her that picture saying, look who he's working out with, huh? And yes, it's anytime Vikings fans are lamenting how great the Packers are doing, it's a good day. It's a beautiful day. Relax. Thank God you're here, man. Bears still suck. Can always count on you, brother. Appreciate it. When your offensive line is in the top 5 to 10, I wouldn't question the center. Mike, I hear you. Look, I understand why people keep kind of gunning for Josh. I do, because his play is inconsistent. And that is the one kind of bugaboo to his game. And not just, hell, game to game or, week to week or what have you, but hell, in game. He'll go, have a series where he's lights out, looks phenomenal. And then he'll have 1 or 2 plays where you're just, what is he doing? Or just he's getting beat at the point of attack. Or, so I understand why there are misgivings about him. But to your point, they're producing with him in there. Like that whole run they went on at the end of the season, that happened, and Josh was part of it. So, yeah, I feel you. But again, I understand why people, especially in this day and age where we've got a lot of tape junkies out there who are putting some of that bad looking stuff out there on the old twitter.com for people to go, oh, look, he's playing really terrible. But we don't get the run of the mill, oh, he did his job and they gained 8 yards on first down. We don't get a clip of that. That doesn't enter into the public psyche. What else we got? Hey, Aaron, cheers from the UK. What's up, Peter? I miss watching this team play. They had so much verve. They did have verve. Verve is a good word for it. They had a lot of moxie, too. But yes, it is always kind of difficult, right? Those first couple weeks after the season is over, and you're just like, really, what I wouldn't give to be getting up on a Sunday morning and heading to wherever you watch the game and getting ready to watch that team again, because damn, they were a lot of fun. Brett Stingle says Keyshawn Nixon is going to want more than $5 million, which he made last year. I don't see the Packers going with that for another year, especially if they're trying to upgrade at nickel corner. Agree with every single word, Brett. And look, that's no knock on Keyshawn. He should absolutely get as much as he can. I just think the much as he can part is going to happen on the open market. I don't think it's going to happen in Green Bay. Ed, thanks for the super chat. Song of the day, When a Guitar Plays the Blues by Roy Buchanan. I miss football. I love the chat is just turning into all of us going, I miss football. It's true, though. It's very, very true. Mike Witt, how are you, man? Hot take.
Mike Witt has a hot take. Mike Witt has a hot take.
The 2014 Packers were a better team than the 2010 team, in my opinion. I still think we would have beaten Pats in the Super Bowl if Seattle didn't happen. Ooh, Mike, that is a hot take. I know a few Packers fans who agree with you. I think the Packers would have gotten waxed by the Patriots in that Super Bowl, but that's just me. And we'll, to quote Kanye, I guess we'll never know. AJ Mack, thanks for the super chat. Really appreciate you. Hey, Aaron, this has been on my mind for a minute. After the new DC came in, did the system change, or was Goody and Matt LaFleur already contemplating it? I'm wondering how much scouting is thrown out now due to a new scheme. None of it's thrown out. It's all information that's accumulated and absolutely kind of, I guess you would say, I don't want to say earmarked, but gathered and is there for use. So they're looking at the traits, they're looking at everything they look at when they scout players. And the idea being, like, this is what a guy can do. This is what he's really good at. This is where he excels. Okay, now these are some of his deficiencies and where maybe he struggles a little bit. Now, how those things fit into certain schemes or how that player might fit into a certain scheme is just another talking point, right? You still want that information. You still want all the scouting that you've done on the player. And to Brian's point, and he said this a couple times, having now been through a couple scheme changes with Brian at the helm, he always says the same thing. And I think it's true to his word. I agree with him, and I think he's telling the truth. Where when they're scouting and drafting and kind of bringing these players into their program, the idea is that they are able to be malleable and do a lot of different things, so that if there is some kind of change or they have to adapt, that the players aren't completely fish out of water, right? Now, there are going to be instances where guys are maybe, not the greatest fit. Now, that's something that they're undoubtedly discussing now, and they'll have to work throughout the entirety of this offseason and hell throughout the season, really. But none of that work is wasted at all. Never forget, every one of these guys, every single player in the NFL, every guy who's not in the NFL, who's played at any kind of level, whether it's college, the XFL, etc. I mean, they all have files. They do work on every single player. Now they do more work on, some players get more work done on them than others, but every guy is studied. And that's why when you see guys come up in free agency and the Packers go after them and you find out later that they really like them in the draft or something along those lines. Like we've had instances in Green Bay where they've had a player in for one of their, top 30 visits during the draft, and then that guy ends up getting drafted someplace else, that makes his way through his first kind of rookie contract and is allowed to hit free agency, and the Packers sign him because they've liked him that long. All of that information sticks around. It's all stuff that they're going to be referencing throughout that player's tenure, no matter where he's playing in the league. It's all valuable. Mike Witt. Mike, now here's your hot take. Motel men at halftime of Super Bowl next year, Nags. I'm sure the NFL will get right on that. And I thank you for the opportunity to let everyone know that the debut album from Motel Men will be out this summer. Stay tuned. Jeezy Baby, what's going on, man? I wonder how good Johnny Jolly could have been. Oh, man, that is a great pull. Johnny Jolly, he was a really good player. One of the greatest athletes for a defensive big man that I've ever seen. I still remember an incredible interception of Jay Cutler that he had, where he had to lay out and had like a one-handed diving interception. Johnny Jolly was a player, man. Good stuff. Are we also at a disadvantage scouting, seeing that Goody and Ted have only ever scouted for a 3-4 defense? I'm worried about this year's draft from the front office on the defensive side. AJ? No, brother. Dissuade yourself. You remember Brian Gutekunst got his start under Ron Wolf when they ran a 4-3? It's still football, man. Like, it is not that dramatic. Like, yes, they need certain things from certain guys at certain positions, and they will undoubtedly have to adjust a few things as far as what they're looking at, what possibly where they place guys on the board in relation to other people at the position, etc. But man, these guys are seeped in football in a way I don't think most fans understand. And 3-4, 4-3, none of that means a whole hell of a lot as far as the changing their process and how they go about finding the guys that they want to select and bring into their program and hopefully grow through a number of contracts. Uh, there's so much more to it than just, oh, will he be able to play 4-3 or 3-4 D end? And most of those determinations are pretty easy as far as, okay, does he fit the mold of a 3-4 defensive end with his hand in the dirt, or is he a 4-3 guy who's spread out wide in a wide nine and has to, rush the passer with his hand on the ground and hopefully hold up against the run, setting an edge, etc. I mean, those things are pretty rudimentary, right? They're working at a whole other level from all of that. Cheesehead Joey, thanks for the super chat. When are we getting Halfley presser? Man, your guess is as good as mine. Look, I asked the Packers if they were going to make him and Matt available prior to the combine, and they said they're trying to do it before the combine if the staff kind of gets put together by then officially, but no word yet. Well, we shall see. Is DeJean a potential first-round starter at corner? Woo, that's a question there, Brett. I like him a lot for the Packers at 25. I don't think he's going to get to 25. I think after the combine, he is going to cement himself as one of the better defensive picks in this draft, and I'll be shocked if he makes it down there. Now, maybe Brian falls in love with him and trades up for him, but when you're talking about corner, I think he can do a hell of a lot more than that. I think he can play safety. I think he can play slot. I think he can be a real chess piece. And given, again, that ability and malleability, coupled with what I expect is going to be some pretty impressive, athletic testing, yeah, I think at 20, it's a stretch for me to see him fall into 25. But hey, I'm surprised every year in the draft. So, but short answer, yes, I think he could 100% help. We need an O-line and a running back that can get a 4th and 1. Tired of these botched short yard situations. Well, Roberto, it'll help if the opponent's not allowed to line up off sides. No, I'm not bitter about the playoffs at all. Why do you ask? I hear you, man. I've kind of gone back and forth on this. Much like yourself, I want the ability to line up and fire off the ball and pick up a first down on 4th and short or 3rd and short. That said, it's not how this offense is built. It's kind of not how modern NFL offenses are built. Everyone loves the tush push in Philly. It's very unique. But yeah, I don't see the Packers changing, anything regarding, oh, we've got to get these personnel pieces in here for this one situational piece. You know what I mean? Like, just need, I think, better play calls on fourth down, Matt. Come on. I'm kidding. I kid Matt. Matt just thinks I complain all the time. But yeah, I feel you. It is frustrating to see them like a run into a wall and not be able to get a yard or an inch or what have you. But that's why I always say, coach the team you have. There's a very, I'm not going to say famous, infamous, horrible video of me back in the day when the Packers had a 4th and short in Minnesota, and McCarthy called a dive play and it came up short, and they had to turn it over on downs, and I absolutely lost my mind saying, coach the team you have. And to your point, like, I hated that call in San Francisco trying to, pick up a 4th and inches, because it's like you don't, especially against that front, which is just very powerful, very athletic, very dominating, especially early in games. I just, you've got to do something, anything other than like run into that brick wall, because that's not your team. You don't have road graders. Like, you have a very athletic um, offensive line. So yeah, I feel you. I just don't think anything's changing anytime soon in that regard. Hmm. Will the owners get rid of the tush push for next season? I suspect there'll be conversation about it. I'll be surprised if it actually gets outlawed. I do find it interesting that, for all their bluster about, oh, we start every drive on 1st and 9, well, then they ran into Tampa Bay and, got stuffed. And Tampa Bay is the one team that's done it twice as far as stop them on the tush push. So I think that Tampa defense and how they approach it will probably be studied a little bit by opponents this offseason. But the fact that, and I think Sirianni's right, they shouldn't be punished for having perfected something and being really good at it, and no one else can replicate it. So why would you? Every other team has the ability to do this. It's, they can try, and many have and failed, but I don't see why they should be punished for it. Now, I say all this, and obviously, I'm not in the owners' meetings, and who knows what gets said behind closed doors and reasonings behind it. But I think there'll be conversation. I know Mark Murphy wrote on the Packers website last year that he was concerned about it and wanted to talk about eliminating it with ownership, with NFL ownership. And clearly that didn't materialize. So maybe he brings it up again this offseason, and maybe they make a little bit more headway and they do go down that road. But right now, I don't feel like it's a hot button topic anymore. Especially with the way the Eagles collapsed down. Like, oh no, they can gain a yard, but they can't win football games. So who cares? I don't know. We'll see. Uh, I could see us going after former Halfley players or players he's seen a lot. Safety from the Rams. Yeah, we talked about him last week at Ohio State. Maybe Kitchens at safety. Kitchens at safety is a fun proposition. I like this idea. Oh, Joseph. Nice. Could this be Matt LaFleur's first relatively drama-free offseason? Knock on wood, nothing but drawing up plays. Man, from your YouTube comment to the football god's ears, let's hope so, because God damn, I'm looking forward to a drama-free offseason. I don't know why we're sitting here trying to jinx it. All right, everybody. I'm going to have to get going. I can't thank you enough for hanging out, talking Packers each and every day, Monday through Friday, right here on the Cheesehead TV social channels. Please do me a monster favor. Hit like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and tell your friends and tell your family. Cheesehead TV, we are devoted to Green Bay Packers fans worldwide. Thanks a lot, everybody. Have a great night. Go Pack, go.